Without further ado, there's perhaps no one more important here this evening than our first speaker, Hua Chu, Xiyue Wang's wife and tireless advocate. Everyone, Hua.
Thank you so much for coming out in such nasty weather and being here with us today. When I stepped into this beautiful rotunda and gathered with Xiyue's friends and his professors and many, many people who have become my friends in the past 3 years, the energies channeled in this warm space deeply touched my heart. I would like to thank Princeton University for everything you're doing towards Xiyue's freedom. Thank you to all the speakers and to every one of you who made phone calls and sent letters to raise awareness of Xiyue's situation. Thank you. Every action helps. I would also like to especially thank all the organizers and volunteers. To Mikey, Taylor, Mai, Bernard, Cassie, and many others.
It's so fun.
And for all your hard work to make the day of action happens today. It means a lot to Xiyue, who was sentenced to 10 years on false charges of espionage and has been unjustly held in Evin prison for 928 days. That doubles the time the American diplomats were held hostage from 1979 to 1981. Evin prison is easy to find on Google Earth. I used to zoom in to examine the landscape and the clusters of the grayish-blue buildings as if I could find him behind the walls. I looked for a courtyard where I could imagine Xiyue spending his precious daily hour of open air. But the closer I zoom in, the more blurred the image becomes and the clearer the futility of our situation. In the summer of 2016, I was startled by a late midnight call from Xiyue. That is when I learned that he had been approached by men who claimed to be Iran's diplomatic police, and they had confiscated his laptop and passport. Even in that awful moment, I had no idea how badly our lives would be overturned. Our trauma began with his abrupt detention, followed by the physical and emotional ordeals he had to endure throughout the 6-month-long interrogations, 20 days solitary confinement, harsh conditions in political prison, and a trial without a shred of evidence or due process. On the other side of the world, my daily life is like a roller coaster. I'm juggling every day with crisis management, a full-time job, and the challenges of parenting as a single working mom. 3 years later, this burden is taking a toll on my 5-year-old son, Xiaofan, who is turning 6 in March and hasn't seen his dad for more than half of his young childhood. Xiyue's only alleged crime is his research for his own PhD dissertation. He is a graduate student at Princeton, studying for a PhD in Eurasian history in the late 19th century and early 20th century. He was in Tehran on a research trip that had been pre-approved by the Iranian government with a letter of introduction from Iran's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He wanted to compare the governance practices across national boundaries in this largely Muslim area, an ambitious project that grew out of his long-standing respect for Islam and for his love for Persian culture. His project required him to sift through mundane manuscripts in the Qajar dynasty a century ago, to look for common threads and to see how and when good governance practices emerged. Needless to say, the old manuscripts he needed to peruse were hardly exciting, had nothing to do with any contemporary politics, and were certainly not confidential. Xiyue is a born scholar, diligent and passionate. Even in prison, books, when he can get a hold of them, are one of his few comforts to escape the harsh conditions at Evan. Sitting in the middle level of a 3-level bunk bed, he cannot even straighten his back, but with books in his hands, he is able to block the noises and smells from over 20 cellmates cramped into that underground cold cell, and to stay focused as if he were in his beloved Firestone library that he cherishes fondly. In the first year of his unlawful arrest, Xiyue was only allowed to call 10 minutes every Wednesday. Shaofan had no chance to speak with his father then. In such brief calls, Xiyue anxiously passed his distressed bullet points of tasks to me as if I had a magic wand to bring him home. Sometimes he was heartbroken and despairing, and sometimes he tried to be more optimistic, promising me that when he came back, everything will be fine. In the meanwhile, Shaofan is growing up without his father. Most of the time, he is cheerfully oblivious. He loves drawing his own stories, but most of them are about jails bursting in flames, men wearing black clothes with chains in hands, their faces covered. Shaofan still cannot fully engage in the phone calls with his father, reluctant to respond to eager questions about his daily life from his father still far away. Xiyue often brings up memories of Shaofan when he was little, such as the funny baby songs he made, or the beautiful afternoons when he rode on Xiyue's shoulders walking home from daycare. Shaofan no longer shares those memories. He was too young to remember these. He is a boy intrigued by the flags of foreign countries and the stories of their landmarks or unique animals. He was thrilled when he learned interesting facts such as that polar bears have black skin. Xiyue was thrilled too when I told him this. Even after Shaofan stopped listening, he kept talking to me about his fascinating tidbit about polar bears. Xiyue is an innocent man, a loving father, a caring husband, and a genuine friend. Xiyue is also an American citizen. It is for this reason that he is being held. So far, neither the Obama administration in power when he was taken, nor the Trump administration have been able to do anything for us, for Xiyue's freedom. I have tried not to lose hope, but it has become clear to me that the value that Iran places on him as American is not matched by his own government's commitment to bring him home. Neither administration has seriously engaged in talks with the Iranian government. It is obvious that the life of one American does not attract the political will that required for decisive action to be taken for his rightful freedom. Xiyue is a scholar with a deep love for the people of Iran. The only purpose of his visit was to learn about Iran's language and its history. He is a scholar of a region of the world that he admires and respects. He found the Iranian archives and the libraries important and stimulating places for his academic interest in pre-modern history of the Eurasian continent. Xiyue deeply respects the pride that Iranian people take in their great history and rich culture. And I hope the Iranian government and its people know how privileged Xiyue felt to be carrying out his research there. Like all children in this world, Shaofan needs his father. Shaofan asks why his father cannot play with him and doubts that he will ever come back again. Our lives have been shattered and we're struggling to rebuild them without Xiyue here. I'm doing all I can for his return, but years pass and nothing I do is enough. I plead for the gate of mercy to be opened for my husband's liberty and the reunion of our family. Thank you, everyone.